Good afternoon. I'm finally getting back to YouTube. I've had a hard week, so I haven't been able to have the energy to do too much. But I wanted to touch base and update anybody who watches me. I don't know if anybody does, and it doesn't matter because I'm still sorting out my channel and what's going to be in place. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the sorts of things that are upcoming eventually when I get my health issues sorted out, if it's possible. If Health Canada is allowing for lives to be saved thanks to the healthcare system and the restrictions on the doctors in the hospitals and the medical delivery system available to people, particularly people who are sick with chronic illnesses, I suspect, have been culled from our society thanks to the MAID program, and I believe to certain other issues that have taken place since 2019. Um, I wonder, I often wonder sometimes if the timing of certain events was orchestrated. I know that we were in the middle of a pandemic during the American election where the world seemed to want to get rid of Mr. Trump, the president of the United States at the time, who was saying no to this globalist agenda. I'm just wondering about that. That's the sort of things that I want to talk about on my channel, is how come? I was one of these one of these Canadian citizens who saw the destruction of our Canadian society over the lifetime of my own personal lifetime, my own personal experiences gave me insight into a lot of things that were wrong with a government entity, especially when it takes over certain things. Like in Canada, we have an organization called the CRTC, which is really a censorship organization for Canadians. And that CRTC is governed by the elected government, so-called elected government. It's employed by bureaucrats who make a lot of money to do as they're told. And it has too much control over what Canadian citizens are allowed to see and what is played on regular television networks that used to be free and accessible to all Canadians. Well, that sort of thing has happened. That the results of that have been catastrophic to the Canadian citizens, and it allowed for a very bloated government because Canadians were never really given the information on what was going on. Investigative journalists were told what they're allowed to report on, and I suspect that's sort of the situation that the Americans have been dealing with over the last, I don't know, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. I know it started 60 years ago plus here in Canada. I have a feeling it had a lot to do with the end of the World War II and the relocation of a lot of people, some of whom had nefarious ideas and were well funded to create a mindset in each culture that was open to them as refugees or whatever. Anyway, these are all sorts of ideas that I have that I'd love to bounce off of people on an open line when I get up and running and able to do live programming, because I think that is an important aspect of the channel that is coming, hopefully. The other issue that I wanted to address is the electoral process and how it's managed. And frankly, the governing bodies in all so-called free societies, and what laws maybe need to be implemented to enforce a certain standard upon their conduct and their behavior while acting in government as someone who's supposed to be speaking and working on behalf of the people of the country that they deal with. And Mr. Jordan Peterson has got this wonderful idea, or Dr. Jordan Peterson. I hope that our Canadian government agency that has been infiltrated by the powers that be does not remove his license from him. But should they do that, he will always be a wonderful doctor, scientist, and all of that. And I love what he's got in the works, apparently. He's coming up with ideas that are going to counter this globalist vision that seems to have infiltrated the world. So, and they're considering something to take place in London, similar to the agenda that was, similar to the Davos conference when Mr. Schwab developed the World Economic Forum, an unelected and unsupervised organization that seems to have an awful lot of influence because of the money it has. The World Economic Forum, the World Health Agencies, all these things. Perhaps what is upcoming, hopefully in London, will be an alternate answer to those of us in the world who see that the freedom of the individual matters and sovereignty matters, and countries who have populations who want to be able to elect people who will work for the meekest and the least in their country, for the betterment of them, for them to be able to earn an income, for them to be able to prosper, for them to be able to express their faith, live out their faith without influence, raise their children without the diabolical influence of organizations that want to castrate them, sterilize them, alter their perception of themselves and the world around them. These are all things that may be addressed in this new global, hopefully, effort that Dr. Jordan Peterson is trying to inspire, and I fully support it. Anyway, I just wanted to get that message out there because I know that there's going to be a huge attempt to stop it, because new ideas that may not make the richest people of this world richer seem to be censored out of public debate. Anyway, God bless you all. I love you all, and have a nice day.